Hello, and welcome to Talking Schmidt. I'm your host, Eric Schmidt.
Hello, I'm Greg Burmeister.
Just me and Greg today.
Hey.
I don't know why I said Greg to you. You are Greg.
Yeah, hello.
Just me and you today,
Yeah.
Greg. Yes. Man, it's hot outside. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and it's gonna get hotter.
Yeah, I'm not excited about this.
I don't like it at all.
Did you see this today? It was so hot, Governor Kathy Hochul sent the National Guard to shoot the sun.
Whoa, hey now.
Monologue jokes now. Very exciting. Kathy Hochul, by the way, doing a terrible job.
Yes.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
They tend to do with those politicians.
She's doing this thing. They were supposed to do like a pricing for cars. If you drove your car into a city, it was supposed to charge you more to drive a car in the city because what they want is people to not drive their cars.
Those
in the
bridge
city.
tolls got.
Yeah,
they're gonna.
Yeah,
hike
in certain
them up.
parts of town too. If you drive into certain parts of town, you know there was a toll that was supposed to be paid for doing that. Now, as someone who does not drive a car, I think that's a great idea because they were going to use that money to fix up the subways, which, as you know,
it would not happen anyway. But
you're saying they would find some other use for that money?
Oh,
you're saying you doubt they would actually use that money for that?
I'm almost certain.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, all right. Well then, I think it's a good idea, and I do wish they would use it to fix up the subways.
Same.
But so she it was supposed to happen, and then she made it not happen, which is part of this whole fucked up thing where people who don't live in the city are trying to control the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not good.
No.
Yeah, and like the people who like have opinions on it that she's trying to appease also don't live in the
Exactly.
city. So it's like, why are we letting people upstate control how things are done here?
It makes no sense.
I think we should go up and kill everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more of us than them.
That's true.
They've got guns, though.
Oh, yeah.
Some of us do too.
I'm sure plenty of people here do too.
All right, fair enough, Greg. I'm picking up what you're putting down. As you know, you traveled last week. You went to see your folks,
Yep.
your family. I went to see my family this past week. Had a lovely time.
Oh, very good. It wasn't too hot down there, was it?
No,
That's
no,
good.
It was nice. Now, something odd happened. You've probably seen this in the news. Planes are weird these days. They're falling apart in the skies. And I was on one, not a Boeing, just a regular one.
Just standard airline.
Yeah, the airline plane I was on. It was Delta. That was the airline I was on. And they we came to a very abrupt stop, on the landing at LaGuardia Short.
I believe it's the shortest in the country.
Yeah, short. What are those called? Runways.
Yeah.
So the guy, had to really, hit the brakes, and when he did, I like kind of flew forward a bit, but I had my seatbelt on. I'm a law-abiding,
there you go.
or rule-following citizen.
That is a federal law.
Yeah. Well, thank God I was wearing it because my seat broke. Like the seat shot forward off the
These airplanes really are janky.
Yeah. So I didn't raise any complaint about it, although I should. I'd probably get some miles out of it. That's what I've learned, by the way, folks. And don't tell all your friends this, because if you do, it'll mean it won't work as often for the rest of us. But if you just complain, and you can do it by text now. You don't have to waste any time calling them. You can text, make it easy on your day. You just text and you're like, "Hey, ma," and they're like, "Whoa, what?" And
here are some
here's
some points.
Here's like thousands of miles, and you're like, "All right, we're talking."
I will stop complaining.
Yeah,
now.
and you give them like a 5-star review or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all about the reviews.
Yeah, that's all they care about.
So that happened, and then I read a story about another lady who had a complaint about the airlines. This woman, I guess it was in the New York Post, and people often ask us, they're like, "Why do you guys only read the Post? Don't you know that's like a conservative rag?"
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's the only funny news. Well, I mean, The Onion's pretty funny, but that's fake. It's not real.
It's satire, but
largely the Post is also not real. Yeah. But it's the funniest news, I think.
Funniest, somewhat legitimate news.
Right, yeah. I mean, the legitimacy is down in the 30-40%.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're unintentionally funny. Sometimes they're trying to be funny. Like they come up with fun puns, in the headlines that are fun. They come up with fun nicknames for folks. Like they called Obama, I think, Bamster. That's what they call it. Like headlines with him on the picture. It's like Bamster did this, and it's just like what? What are we doing anymore? So anyway, also like I have what's called media literacy, right?
Yeah.
I know when something is an opinion. I know when they're claiming something is a fact. Now, obviously, newspapers of all stripes get it wrong sometimes. And folks, the New York Post is no different. I would say they regularly get things.
More often than not.
But again, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny stuff. I mean, they owe it all to Rupert Murdoch, the great, what are those called that you'd see at the news at the oh my god, at the grocery store, those like it'd be like Hillary Clinton adopts alien baby.
Oh yeah, the National Enquirer.
Yeah, but what are those called?
Tabloids.
Yeah. So he's like a tabloid guy, big jokester. This Rupert Murdoch fella. So That's what it reminds me of. It's just silliness.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah, it has a conservative slant, but like I know how to, interpret these things.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a moron. I know what's going on. Although I just forgot the word for tabloid, which doesn't speak well to that. So anyway, I'm reading that, right? I'm reading my favorite newspaper, the New York Post, and this woman, I guess, she was on the airplane and she was in first class. And I guess she's a fan of the political right in this country.
Yes.
And I guess what they've started doing, I don't know if you've seen this, but they wear these like hats. They wear these red hats.
Yeah.
And they have this quote from Ronald Reagan on them that say, "Make America great again."
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've seen these.
Yeah. I think I'm familiar.
Yeah. So I guess she's wearing this hat, right? And she orders a drink. Or maybe she didn't even get to order the drink, but like the woman just skips her. The woman does the flight attendant does not serve her.
But she served everyone else in first class.
Right. Now, not a nice thing to do for a flight attendant, but I think if it were me, I would probably not wear a hat that would...
Exactly. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
Like, what you're getting into when you wear that hat.
Sure. I mean, like, if I was going somewhere where I knew no one would be in control of anything that I would be putting into my mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if I'm going to a restaurant, a bar, or on an airplane where I expect someone to bring me something to drink or eat, I would probably not wear a hat that might insult one of those people.
Exactly.
Now, if I knew I was going somewhere where I knew everyone that worked there agreed with me, maybe.
Yeah.
But I still don't think I'd risk it.
I mean, I've worked in a restaurant. I know how those things go.
Sure. I can't help but think this woman has probably she probably has the world record for drinking the most flight attendant spit.
Yeah.
She claims she wears it every time she flies. That just seems silly. Yeah. Why would you do that to yourself?
Among other things, probably drank plenty of urine.
You think people are peeing in her drinks?
Soap.
Oh dear. Yeah. Oh my. Well, you worked in the restaurants. You know what's going on. But yeah, I don't understand. I think the people that do these kind of things, and it's not just people on the political right, by the way. I think... you don't have to be of that persuasion to be an asshole to people in the service industry, but I think there is this air of arrogance with a lot of people where they think that the servers are like robots or something. Like they think they don't have a way or a reason to get even with you. So, folks, tip your servers. Like, be nice. Don't wear controversial hats on the planes. Like, I wouldn't wear this. If I was flying to Miami, I'm wearing a Miami Dolphins hat. If I was flying to Miami, maybe.
Yeah.
But buddy, you don't want to make people mad.
Nope.
And people get mad. Fun thing happened to me today, Greg.
Oh, what's that?
I went and played some basketball with some friends of ours.
Yeah.
Davidson Boswell, friend of the podcast.
Friend of the pod.
And a few others who are not really friends of the podcast, but just friends.
Yeah.
But we were playing basketball. Man, I was schooling them too.
Oh,
you better believe it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
Sure. So I'm out there, I'm playing basketball, and this guy, older black guy, comes out to the courts, and we all kind of look at him because he looks familiar. And he looks rich. He looks like famous.
Yeah.
We're like, who is that?
He had that rich glow to him.
Yeah. He's just real. He wasn't even playing. He just had a basketball. And he was just like walking around, smiling and looking rich. And I was like, man, who is that guy? He looks familiar. He seems rich. And then I was like, I think that might be one of Michael Jackson's brothers. I think it might be one of the Jackson 5.
Yeah, the original Jackson 5.
Yeah, and one of my friends was like, he looks like Joe Jackson, Michael's dad, a little bit, but he's dead, right? And I was like, yes. So we can rule that one out. That is not him. We can also rule out Michael. That is not Michael Jackson.
True.
Unless Michael Jackson had all of his...
the pigment.
he had everything undone. So I'm like, I look up pictures of the Jackson 5, and I'm like, I think it's Jermaine. So me and another one of the fellas I was playing with, his name is Orion for this story. So we walk over because the other guys were too scared. They're like, we don't want to walk up to some guy and be like, hey.
Ask him if he's Michael Jackson's brother.
Well, yeah, like, and we also didn't know exactly which one it was. And also, like, Jackson used to be a racial slur. I mean, I guess it still is. So, you don't really want to just walk up to a black person and be like, hey, Jackson, like, that's not.
Are you one of the Jacksons?
Right. Also, man, if you're wrong.
The fact that
buddy.
you didn't know which one he was is very awkward.
So I walked up, and he's sitting there with like his wife and what I think was like maybe their nanny, and then they had the kids. The kids were playing basketball, and I walked up. I was like with Orion. I was like, "Excuse me, are you a musician?" And he could tell, like he knew what we were walking up for.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, here it comes." And he goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "I'm a Jackson," and I was like, Jermaine? And he goes, no, Jackie. And I was like, all right, well, either way, big fan,
close
Yeah. Big fan of you and most of your brother's work. Musically, you guys are great.
80% of you guys are fine.
I even like some of your sister's work. But so he was very nice. We got a picture with him. But yeah, very nice guy. Jackie Jackson.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, you never know who you're going to see in New York playing basketball.
That's wild.
It was funny. Like we all we saw him walk up. We're like, that guy, there's something about that guy. He was smiling the whole time.
He's like, I'm so rich. Just so happy that he has so much money.
What a great New York City thing. Only in New York and probably Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Maybe Chicago.
London.
Yeah, Miami probably as well.
Yeah.
These kind of things maybe happen. Las Vegas for sure.
Oh, definitely.
But only in New York. So I got some things to plug real quick,
very
Greg,
good.
if that's
let's
okay.
Do it. Yeah, let's do it.
I'll be hosting the Barcelona Bar stand-up comedy show. It's called the Off-Season Comedy Show because it occurs when football season is not in season. They do these comedy shows on Sundays there. I'll be hosting that one this Sunday. Come on out. It'll be fun. We'll have some great comedians. I'm also doing a set on the show that you and I usually do together.
Yeah.
Live Snakes next Thursday. And Mia Faith Hammond, friend of the pod, hilarious comedian.
Very funny.
Yep, she's hosting that show. So it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Got some great comedians on there.
June 27th.
June 27th.
9 p.m.
9 p.m. Doors at 8. Get there around 8:30 if you want a chair. But yeah, that's going to be just a real hoot, I think.
Yeah, buddy.
That's gonna be fun. I have some news about that though too.
Oh.
Well, we have two sad newses about that,
no.
but you should still come to the show. One is our wonderful band leader, Greg Burmeister, will not be there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Well, I hope so. You were the one that told me.
Yes.
You're getting surgery, right?
Yeah, I'm having surgery that day, so I'm going to be nice and drugged up.
Yeah. Friend of the podcast, Ryan Bynack, texted me and was like, you guys keep alluding to this surgery that Greg's going to get, but you never say what it is. And like people, I guess, are concerned that it's like a deadly thing. Yeah, no, it's your
Yeah, I'm not having a major organ removed.
No.
I'm just having it repositioned, and
it's a hernia surgery.
Yeah, it's a hernia repair. I don't even know how to say this word. Inguinal hernia repair.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, they're doing it with a robot. They cut 3 to 4 little holes in me, and put a camera in one, and some other tools in the other ones, and they push the intestine back through the abdominal wall and sew it up with a piece of mesh, which binds to your abdomen wall, and it hopefully keps it in place.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to...
Fascinating.
You know what, Greg? I'm going to pray for you.
Hey, thanks, brother.
No problem. So that's one bit of, sadness about the live snake shows.
Times are tough.
Greg won't be there.
Yeah.
Mia has offered to play piano. She's going to host. She said she's going to do this. Man, what an undertaking though. Host the show and play the musical intros for everybody.
Yeah, that's a lot.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's happening, and then we were going to try. One of our friends And listeners, I'm not going to come out and say it. If you listen to the show often, you might be able to piece together which guest this is. But a friend of ours and former guest, again, not going to name names, offered to, well, he bought a weed company, a marijuana distribution.
Yeah, it's a pretty big company too.
Yeah. And he was, at the last show, he was generous enough to offer to give out joints.
Yeah.
To everyone that attended the show.
Everyone. Complimentary joints.
Complimentary joints. He was going to give them out as with a little advertisement for his marijuana company. And I was like, man, that would be great. Thank you so much. I mean, sincerely, a generous offer. From Franco. And I mean, maybe it was Kevin McCat. I don't know.
It could have been anybody. Which
really.
One it was.
Could have been. It was Ellery Smith. I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was like, that's great. Thank you so much. And but I thought to myself, let me do my due diligence here. I mean, I know it's legal in New York.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me make sure the bar would be cool with this. The venue would be cool with this. So I reached out, and they said no.
That I was gonna. Yeah, I had a feeling that was gonna be the case because they've been doing a big crackdown on illegal dispensaries.
Yeah, I right, and I know it's illegal to sell it, without a license to sell it. Yeah. But I
just
would have assumed giving it away would have been fine.
Yeah.
I think they're just playing it safe. I don't think any problem would have arisen from it.
They probably just didn't want to deal with it.
Well, I guess their concern was I guess you could maybe get in trouble for your liquor license, something with that.
Interesting.
They didn't want to have that be in jeopardy.
Yeah, or maybe they just didn't want the place to smell like weed.
Well, I mean, we were not going to encourage people to smoke indoors, but sure.
People will.
Sure. Yeah, I imagine at least one. So anyway, if you come out to Live Snakes and you see, Franco, if you see him, just maybe you could just ask him for a joint, and maybe he'll just give it. But do it outside, maybe. So kind of free joints.
Maybe.
Maybe if you play your cards right, you can get a joint at the show. So, hey, Greg.
Yes.
Last but not least, we got another letter in the Talking Schmidt.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
In the Talking Schmidt.
The mailbag.
The mailbag. Now, we had initially intended this to be a digital mailbag, it would be,
email. Yeah.
Again, and we prefer you do that. Again, talkingschmidt69@gmail.com. Please, it would be the best way to do this. But another person has just sent us.
Yeah. This is the second physical letter in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very strange.
But, and I don't know how they're getting your address. I mean, they're coming to your house.
Yeah.
We have not given out that address.
They must, maybe they know someone who's close to me.
The last one came from Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Former President Barack Obama. Possible he got in touch with his old friends at the CIA, the FBI, and they did a little tracking of you. I don't know how people do things. But anyway, so our last letter came from Barack Obama. It didn't ask us a question, which is fine.
Yeah.
We're just happy to hear from him, I guess.
He said we're doing a great job.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Yeah, very nice letter.
Yeah.
So here's the letter we got today. I haven't read it yet.
Ooh.
To Eric and Greg, again, is what it says. Here we go. Hey guys, pretty cool of Barack to send you a letter. Congrats.
Oh, that's it?
Well, no. Well, I mean, he signed it. It says, "Sincerely, George W. Bush."
Well, I
wonder if that's the man. I wonder because remember there was the guy that was president with that name.
Oh, that's who that was. Yeah.
Do you think that's the same guy?
That would make sense because he probably got my address from Barack.
You think so?
Yeah.
They're hanging out?
Aren't they good friends?
You think they're talking about our podcast together? And like, man, we should mail those guys letters.
They have a listening party every Thursday morning.
We just think we should freak out Eric and Greg, let them know we're watching.
Well, I guess that makes sense. I feel like George W. Bush is a man who would mail us a letter as opposed to use the internet.
He's kicking it old school.
As
they say. He paints. That's an old school thing to do.
Yep.
He bombs Iraq. That's another old school thing to do.
He mails letters.
So
he supports the United States Postal Service.
And buddy, you need to this day and age, I tell you. So with all the texting going on,
you need too much of that SMS text messaging.
Sometimes you got to sit down, write a letter, stamps. I don't even know how much they are these days. Do you know? 47 cents, $30. I don't know. Well, anyway, so if you're, so inclined, I guess send us a letter.
Yeah, or I guess that's what everyone's doing now.
Or you could write us an email. Email again would be encouraged. I prefer emails, but whatever you want to do, I guess. So with that, we'll thank you for watching.
Yep,
and listening. And also, if you wouldn't mind, I don't know if you folks are the praying type. Greg is going under the knife.
I am.
Is this our last episode before that? Or do we have time for another one?
We can do. we can do another one.
We'll do one more.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, you can never have too much prayer.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if you're the praying type,
smother me with prayers.
Yeah, send the good vibes. It doesn't matter what religion you are.
Yeah.
As long as it's like one of the three like regular ones, those would be preferred.
The somewhat normal ones.
Yeah. None of that weird shit.
Yeah.
Please. But if you're a religious type and you pray, maybe
don't send me weird prayers.
No.
Only nice ones.
Yeah.
I need it.
It's time to
Times are tough.
It's time to lift Brother Greg up in prayer. So anyway, thank you for watching and listening.
We'll hopefully see you next week.
Good night. Talking Schmidt is recorded at Burmeister Studios in
Astoria, Queens.
Opening music is by Greg Burmeister. Closing music is by
Greg Burmeister.
Our intern is Jason Travis. If you like what you've heard, please like, follow, and write a review for us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you didn't like it, please keep listening to it, but keep your opinions to yourself. If you really liked it, you can find bonus episodes over on our Talking Schmidt Patreon page. Membership is just $5 per month, and it goes a long way to buy us the equipment and bourbon we need. Thanks in advance, and hope you're doing great.